Welcome to Home Cook Stories, the podcast that brings flavor and inspiration to your ears. I'm your host, Julia Darling, a working mother with a family of 5 to feed and an insatiable appetite for all things food. Inspired by the life lessons from my mom, I believe food has profound links to our lives, from family recipes that leave a legacy, to the culinary journeys that define our travels, and the food that shapes our culture and lifestyle. Join me on this audio adventure as we dig into delicious topics, bringing more meaning and connectivity to our lives. And yes, we'll definitely work up an appetite. Remember, food isn't just what's on your plate. It helps tell the story of who you are. So wherever you are in this moment, pull up a seat and tune in, because life's too short for bland stories and boring meals. Welcome to Home Cook Stories. There's something about an ordinary Monday night that can feel ordinary. The rush from work, the kids, the dinner that somehow needs to make itself. But what if we looked at those moments a little differently? What if we found small ways to make them feel beautiful, either through a little music or a little mood lighting? In this episode, we're exploring how to bring a touch of La Dolce Vita, the sweet life, into the everyday. Because sometimes the most meaningful beauty isn't found in faraway places or in lavish luxury experiences, but right in your own kitchen. This idea has been on my mind a lot lately, and it really came to life for me personally one evening not too long ago. I'm going to start by telling you guys a story about something truly once in a lifetime that I experienced recently. My husband and I went to go see Andrea Bocelli in concert. And if you are familiar with who the famous Italian tenor and singer is, you can imagine that it was everything I thought it would be. The orchestra and the lights and the choir behind him in the orchestra, his famous voice just belting out those big notes. I mean, I think the man is in his late 60s and he has still got it. The Italian ladies and the nonnas also showed up and showed out for this event. I don't think I have seen so much leather and sparkles and heels in one massive space as I had on that night. And it just all around created this immersive cultural experience of beauty, for lack of a better word, and beauty in all of the different art forms and expressions that were on stage that night. The music and the voices, and there were dancers and violinists that would come up and perform alongside him. And it was just like time froze, right? People are getting dressed up, and we were going on a date, and we were listening to that beautiful music and surrounded by a little level of glitz and glamour. And I left thinking 3 things. Number 1, life is beautiful, or it has moments of such overwhelming beauty. 2, I wanted to know who made Andrea Bocelli's black velvet Italian loafers because I want a pair. And number 3, given that I probably won't be able to afford said Italian loafers, I giddily bought a Bocelli t-shirt on my way out of the concert venue. I kid you not, your girl is rocking a black t-shirt with Bocelli's name and face imprinted on it. Big, covers the whole entire chest, front and center, and I could not help myself. And I have to tell you, I have worn it in public, no shame. And I try to hide a little bit of my inner nerd by, I think, putting on like a jeans jacket with it and black jeans and trying to make it somewhat cool. I don't know if it works or not, but I just had the best time. And so that concert was on a Sunday night. And so, as you can imagine, by Monday morning, it was back to the Monday mayhem that is the start of a work week, and getting kids up and back in the swing of school and making lunches and answering emails. And so, it can tend to feel like the beauty and the magic of that night seemed long gone and kind of as if it had happened ages ago. But here's the thing I realized too, it doesn't have to be. I can bring a little bit of that feeling, La Dolce Vita, into my everyday life. And you can bring it into your everyday life, even on the busiest of a Monday night. The Italians have this phrase, la dolce vita, which literally translates to the sweet life. And in its simplest definition, it is a way of life that encourages us to find the beauty in the everyday, to enjoy life's simple pleasures, to celebrate connections with one another. In a lot of ways, this is my hope and intention for a lot of the topics on this podcast as well, to offer us a space to pause and enjoy and relish in the simple things and pay attention to what really matters and how we can better connect with the food and the travel and the people in our lives. And I wanted to have more of this. Life is not all cinematic moments and Bocelli on stage, but with a little intention, we can take something as mundane as tonight's dinner is going to be spaghetti out of a jar and create a mood that elevates that everyday task. So let's get practical. How can we bring a little of that magic into our everyday routine? And I am going to take that very real spaghetti in a jar scenario and show you a few ways that I actually do implement this at home. So if you're ready, come and join me and let's get into it. So there are a couple things that I will do to create the mood that I want to invite into my day. And the first one is music. Turn on some music. I've got my Bluetooth speaker. I will blast it throughout the kitchen. And because we have somewhat of an open floor plan, probably much to my family's chagrin, they are able to hear it throughout the whole entire house as well. But for me, music has this incredible ability to transform space. So without it, perhaps our kitchen is just a kitchen, right? It's a war zone. There are piles and stacks of paper and crafts everywhere. And honestly, random socks, like my kids' socks are spread all across the floor in various pairs and odds and ends. So you know what I'm saying, right? But when I turn on music, whether it's an Italian dinner playlist on Spotify or listening to Andrea Bocelli's music on my iTunes list, I'm not cooking in my kitchen anymore. I'm cooking in la cucina, which just sounds better, right? The second thing that I might do is light a candle. It's that soft, warm light, a little bit of glow. It could have a scent to it. Perhaps you've just got some tall candlesticks and just want to create mood with the light itself and not the scent. But some mood lighting really does add to the atmosphere and creates kind of a little bit more of a special feel. The third thing that you could do, pour a glass of wine or your favorite beverage. It can be non-alcoholic. It could be a cocktail of your choice. And it doesn't have to be large. Trust me, I have these little glass juice glasses, and a lot of times I'll just fill it like not even halfway full. It's not about indulgence here. It's just that small signal that this is a moment to savor and pause. Think about it like, when we pour that first cup of coffee in the morning and you hold the cup in between both of your hands and it warms your hands. And then the steam and the smell of coffee just naturally rises up to your face. And so you've got the scent and the warmth, right? And so it's just signaling to you that this is a moment to savor and to take a beat. And so that's the purpose here in doing that. The fourth thing would be to notice the little things. So when we start to slow down, our senses start to celebrate the ordinary. Let's be honest, life is still happening all around us, right? So my kids, 2 out of the 3 are probably going to be chasing each other around the downstairs and circling around the kitchen as I am making this pasta dinner. Or somebody might be calling from the bathroom because all of a sudden we are out of toilet paper and I need to go save the day. Life is still going to naturally happen, and it won't be this uninterrupted perfect moment, but we can kind of create little elements around us to make it a little bit better. The fifth thing, do something a little elevated at the dinner table even. So think cloth napkins versus paper napkins, or glass cups for everyone versus plastic cups for the kids, assuming that your kids are old enough and are no longer drinking out of a sippy cup. But these tiny touches can really help create a shift in energy in the room. Perhaps you think about what we call in our house like table topics and come up with certain questions or themes or things that you want to talk about at the table. Every now and then, I will put candlesticks on the table and light candles during dinner. Our kids are old enough now where I'm not afraid that we're going to burn the house down if I do that. So if the people at your dinner table are old enough to appreciate it and kind of keep things safe, I really love doing that because it visually also signals to them that things are a little elevated and kind of grown up and different. So life doesn't have to be perfect for joy, even if it's a busy week. Even if the kids are loud, even if your sauce is coming from a jar of Rayo's marinara from the grocery store, which it does in my house at least once a week, but you can create that moment that feels beautiful and more special by doing a couple of these little things. So try this. Pick one thing today. Play music in the kitchen. Light a candle or dim the lights while you're cooking. Pour your favorite drink, or just notice the smell of dinner a little bit more intentionally. Hopefully it's not a burnt smell, but see what shifts. You might be surprised how your space and your mood responds. So the spirit of La Dolce Vita isn't reserved for a lavish lifestyle or only for concerts and vacations. We have the ability to create that space in our own home and in our everyday lives in small ways. So from my kitchen to yours, here's to making space for little beautiful moments to enjoy, even when it's from spaghetti in a jar. I hope you guys found a few helpful tips, perhaps a little bit of motivation to adopt some of these into your own routine as you are cooking. And until next time, savor and eat well. Thank you all for listening to the episode today. If you find value in these stories, please share it with someone who would appreciate it too. A big part of why I wanted to start this podcast is to build a community of food lovers and home cooks alike. You taking less than a minute out of your day to share an episode, subscribe to the podcast, or leave a review is the greatest form of validation and means so much because it is helping us to build that community and connection with one another. Remember, a good story is meant to be shared. Until next time, eat well.